Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's discussion on WhoCulture. You will notice something a little bit different. For one thing, my voice as Ellie Littlechild is quite different this week, and I have slightly more of a beard than usual. No, Ellie is having a very well-deserved holiday, so we hope she's having a lovely time. But of course, the world keeps going despite our want to take a break. And so, very kindly and very wonderfully and very Supermanly, James is here joining me this week. James, how are you getting on?
I'm doing really well, Sean. How are you doing?
I am very, very good. Seriously, though, kudos. That is a great Superman t-shirt. That
Oh,
really...
thanks. I'm a big fan. What can I say? The film this year really got me in the mood.
Joe, I had the weirdest feeling when I came out of that film. I think it's called Hope.
It's been a while since we've had some of that, isn't it?
A little bit. So we're in this sort of period where there's so many little bits of information out there, and what there is not is a confirmation of season 3 of Doctor Who, or that Disney is continuing or not continuing with Doctor Who. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, because Jane Tranter, who is Doctor Who producer, she's, BBC Bad Wolf Studios co-founder, and also like commissions so much series for BBC, both worldwide, and of course has been with Doctor Who for pretty much, I think, all of Russell's tenure. So she was interviewed recently, shout out to the Royal Television Society, and I'm going to read the quote in full so that I don't misquote something, which I have such a tendency to do. Okay, here's the quote. Tranter insists that Disney has always had the right to walk away after 26 episodes have aired, which includes 5 episodes of the upcoming spin-off The War Between the Land and the Sea. Then, and only then, does Disney Plus have to make a decision whether or not they want to do more. I imagine at a time when Disney are having huge cuts themselves and there have been slashes in program budgets, they're looking to take their time to balance everything out and decide what they want to do, adds Tranter diplomatically. She says it's not a question of if the iconic sci-fi series will return on the BBC, but rather when and how. At its heart, it's a BBC show and it will keep going one way or another, she says. Grant, from all of that, what was new?
Not a lot, really. I feel like they're just kind of restating. I think it's because they're seeing people are fear-mongering a little bit of like, it's over, the show's going to get cancelled, it's going away. And I think they're just trying to reiterate again and again, it's not disappearing. We don't know how or when it will come back, but it will be back.
That's my reading of it as well. It's a bit like, as long as we don't have answers to give you, not shush and sit down. I'm not getting that feeling. But,
No.
it's long. The long game is there will be new episodes of Doctor Who. I think the thing we're really obviously picking up in this one now is I'm conscious of using absolutes. Like, I don't want to say, oh, sure, we all know Disney's not coming back, because we don't know that.
No.
We might suspect that, but we don't know that. This seems to me hedge Betty.
Yeah. It doesn't suggest to me that she's confident that Disney will renew with them. And I think I'm okay either way. Like, personally, I think Doctor Who can survive without the budget. It's nice when it looks great. It's nice when it can have these big set pieces and big visual effects. But we've been enjoying it when it was on a shoestring budget, and we'll enjoy it long after that budget disappears. But then at the same time, if someone else picks it up, that's fine. That's great as well. I don't think there's anything about the seasons we've just seen where I'm like, that's Disney. That's what the mark they've put on it, and that's why we need it to be Disney coming back.
I absolutely agree with that. That's a really good point. Like, there's nothing in, say, from the 14th onwards where I go, that is so Disney. And I mean that as a positive, is that there isn't a Disneyfication, if you like, of it. I am not anti-Disney in terms of the
No.
what I'm seeing. There's nothing where I go like, Mickey Mouse is flying the TARDIS. Nothing like that. But like you say, we have seen so much Who, 99% of Doctor Who doesn't have Disney as a part of it. This is obviously a brand new, in the grand scheme of things, thing. And I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
as we stumbled through those couple of years where we were kind of figuring out where CGI could get to, the bin in rows, some stuff better than others, you know what I mean? But also TV budget. It's nice to have a big Disney budget,
Yeah.
but it's not necessary to story. So the good news is what we've kind of said the whole time is Doctor Who's coming back. We know that. We don't know in what format. We don't know with who, but it will be back. We've weathered dark times before. We'll weather them again. And Jane Tranter seems to be on that boat as well, and Russell T has said things to the effect. So that is good, right? And there's the other thing as well. If Disney, to sort of the first part, if Disney doesn't have to make a decision until 26 episodes, including The War Between the Land and the Sea, air, I kind of feel bad for the show because without really a second of footage, okay, we've seen a trailer. Now people are like, I'm waiting for it to finish so we can get an answer.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, people will just be looking to that end date of like, yeah, this is good, but let's wrap it up so we can know whether we're getting Doctor Who back. And it's a lot of pressure being put on what should only ever have been. Oh, yeah, it's a nice little addition.
Look, it's kind of like, not that it's the same as Tales of the TARDIS. I know it isn't, but it's a side thing as opposed to, it is now, effectively, it's not season 3, but it's the next season. And so you now have a different set of expectations going in to that. And if it's well written, it should be able to completely weather any expectations. But yeah, it's kind of it's now an extra barrier or an extra hurdle. Maybe a hurdle is a better word there. And a part of me is just like, and this, I don't mean to sound bad, but it's a lot of weight to put on the Sea Devils particularly.
It's such a bizarre choice to pick the Sea Devils of all the villains that have come back, once in the revival. And then on top of that, not only have you picked an enemy that most people won't have heard of, you've then changed from what we've seen in trailers, you've changed their look completely. So you now don't even have what little iconography they had. If you make it like a Dalek show or a Cyberman show, people who don't watch Doctor Who instantly look at it and go, that's related to Doctor Who. You could show that trailer to War Between the Land and the Sea to any member of my family and they wouldn't have a clue that it's part of Doctor Who or anything to do with it, which, again, is another hurdle they've added to it.
And it is, I think, so Disney aside for a second, I think maybe, I don't want to sound unkind, but maybe was there a we can't fail?
It feels that way. It really feels that way from, again, I don't want to put names in it. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but it feels like that's the attitude that Russell T Davies went into it with. And at the same time, when it was announced that he was coming back, everyone was heralding it like, the second coming. I was excited for it. I was like, oh my God, like the guy who ran arguably my favorite era of Doctor Who is coming back. How could it possibly be bad? So, I can definitely understand where a bigger head and a false confidence would have come from with that.
I'm right there with you. I'm honestly right there with you. And again, I really want to stress, I don't really dislike this last run.
No, not at all.
I do think it didn't quite deliver what I had hoped. And also that's fine. You can't sit there and go, oh, well, it didn't do what I wanted to, and therefore it's bad. That's not what I'm saying. And I know we've talked about this in other conversations. Things happen. The world goes in different directions. There's things we will never know about as viewers. Which, of course, then is like, well, then should we consider that? Because all sorts of things. I'm speaking wonderful English. Me fail English, that's impossible. But it's been an odd time. I think it started from a bit of a and look, 13 could be people's favorite run. And Jodie could be people's favorite Doctor, and that is absolutely fine and absolutely fair. I also think it's fair to say the franchise had run out of steam by the time we got to I think going into Flux, we'd run out of steam at that point.
100%.
And then, like first Doctor ever announced on Twitter, Ncuti Gatwa. Do you know what I mean? I remember, like when we were talking about this before, like, is this an April Fool's?
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Like,
mean?
not even a picture of him in his costume on the TARDIS or anything, just a headshot of him. It's like, oh, by the way, this guy's going to be the Doctor.
And I was just like, what are you doing? And I don't think that was a symptom of too big to fail or we can't go wrong. I think there was like tiptoe, 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 sprint.
Yeah.
And then with that, it was like, right, we'll do season 1, season 2, film them back to back, which we know that they were. We're going to release them. Annual Doctor Who. This is going to be great. And there's so many things just organized that to kind of make a barrier to that, which I think, I might be wrong, I think has resulted in the end of the Disney deal. I do think it's come to an end. I have no problem this clip being used on Twitter as it's confirmed. Sean eating his own feet, no problem with that. Honestly, no ego in this. But yeah, but hey, War Between the Land and the Sea fulfills the annual Doctor Who promise.
Yes. Watch that be a quote at some point where Russell's like, well, technically, there was a Whoniverse thing every year. I said to be annual Who, not annual Doctor Who.
What? 100% on the next t-shirt. On the next t-shirt. But what do you think about that now being the Doctor Who series of 2026?
Yeah, I think that's a shame. And I don't think it was originally the plan. I think in their head, it would be like a little between series. Whereas now I think they've gone, oh, it looks like we're not going to have season 3 next year. Let's push War Between Land and Sea back a little bit to kind of like fill that gap and tide fans over until we can get a third season on the go.
I'm similar to yourself. Like we've had short seasons before. Flux is only 5 episodes, you know, so we've done that because I think that year we had the New Year's special and Flux, and that was what we got.
Yeah.
Because Sea Devils was the following year, I think, or maybe we had maybe we bookended actually with New Year's specials. So like we've done that before where Doctor Who's only got a short run, and obviously this isn't Doctor Who per se. And obviously
it's got now.
it's all we could, like, you know, kind of it's got Sea Devils. It's got Sea Devils and Russell Tovey. I will take it. But also, I mean, like there's been a bit of reaction about whether or not it should ever have been greenlit without this kind of certainty that it would be a bridging season. Like, was this meant to be what went between season 2 and season 3 with a story following on in the War Between the Land and the Sea? And now we don't have, or potentially don't have, season 3, and it's been bumped up. I don't know, because as you can tell, my thoughts are all over the place with this one. Because this is very much it seems to be the next story. I mean, we've got Unit in there, Kate's in there, Colonel Sexy's in there. You know, Shirley's in there, so it's definitely got to be advancing the story.
It is hard where you were saying like the idea of should this show have been commissioned, because it's easy for us to sit here now and go, well, now that season 3 is not coming in, why did they do that? They only had a finite number of episodes. They should have dedicated all to Doctor Who. But at the time, I think they went into it going, people love Doctor Who. We've got Disney money now. There's no way we can fail. Yeah, let's do seasons of the show. Let's do spin-offs. We can do it all. I think maybe it was a bit naive at the start, but at the same time, it's very easy for us to look back in hindsight and say that.
That's a really good point, because I think I probably would have had some very political, diplomatic response if someone had said, do you think Doctor Who's too big to fail? But I also probably would have been like, yeah, but it's still Doctor Who. We've been going for 60 years. It'll probably go again. But you cannot make a business decision based on that, because we spoke very briefly, full disclosure, we spoke very briefly before recording about how streaming is a very complicated, very new model.
Yeah.
As much as we all, you know, we have with the streamers we follow, if it's Disney, Netflix, Amazon, and that's just here. I know there's Tubi as well. There's HBO Max. There's so many different streaming services. But what they are not is the television rollout that we are of an age to remember. And it seems, maybe hindsight's wonderful, but again, it seems to be, it was a bit easier to judge business decisions based on things like on Thursday night, either 20 million people turned up or they didn't. You know what I mean? Where that's not how things work anymore, because you don't have that everyone sits down at the same time.
Yeah.
It's available for streaming. Now we do the numbers over rewatches and weeks and everything, which is why we had were we talking about like overnight numbers before, and kind of the thing going like, I'm not saying they don't matter, but they're not
The
the
be all end
thing.
all.
Yeah, that's not the thing anymore. Like, you know, what's the biggest thing now about streamers? About like what is it they want more than anything else?
Subscribers and new subscribers. They want to get that turnover. They want people to constantly be renewing their subscriptions and coming back. But I also think it's like, you have no idea when someone signs up for Disney Plus or for Amazon Prime or for Netflix, there's no way of telling, as far as I'm aware, what they've signed up for. So you don't know, timing will come into it, but you don't know if they've done it so that they can watch all of The Boys. You don't know if it's so they can catch up with Stranger Things. There's no way of assigning where the budget is, where the money is going to.
That's a really good, like, because on the one respect, right, like let's say episode 1 of Doctor Who airs on a Friday, and that Friday 20,000 people sign up. All right, you can have maybe an educated guess
Yeah.
about that. But what if it isn't as definite as that? If you just have over the course of September, 1 million people subscribed to Disney Plus. Now, in that September, we had several Marvel series, a new series of Doctor Who. We had, etc. Are they, what do they watch? Now, I'm sure there's way, because that's the other thing is, I know Netflix historically doesn't like to publish viewing numbers. And I'm sure there is a way of tracking that as well. So maybe that is something, although we don't have that information, there probably is a way of tracking who's actually watching Doctor
Yeah.
Who.
But again, that's the number that always comes up. People always talk about the viewing figures. It's like, it's not really the number that matters. It's the number that matters is the money it generates, which we've been told and told again and reiterated that it's fine. They actually do very good numbers on that side with Doctor Who.
It's true. Like, again, it's like, I realize I'm being selfish and I want it all. I want to know the viewing numbers, but I should be like, no, like in a way, maybe take them at face value. But like, right, if they were saying, well, they're not saying it's doing terrible. I think there's a part of Tranter's quote actually that I'm just gonna. I imagine at a time when Disney are having huge cuts themselves and there have been slashes in program budgets, they're looking to take their time to balance everything out and decide what they want to do. What is a hard thing sometimes for me to remember is that Doctor Who is not the only thing on Disney Plus.
Yeah. And I think maybe Doctor Who is just unlucky that it signed up with Disney when it did. If this were like a few years earlier, like I think when this deal was made, Marvel especially could do no wrong. You've got Endgame was flying, they've got all these plans, everything. It was making money like no one's business. Whereas now we're in a time where that faith has been lost in those films. They pumped out too much content, the quality went down, and I think now the tide has turned on them. Whereas now, if you look at the 3 films that Marvel released this year, I would say all of them are good. The worst one is like okay, and none of them have really made like decent money. And it's just a shame for Doctor Who that Disney are probably looking at like our like bankable franchise isn't making the bank that it used to be. What's going to be when, as Tranter said, they're starting to look at what cuts they have to make. What's going to be the first thing on the chopping block? That co-financed show that is a British thing and not really that much to do with us.
I think the bits to come out of this, I read from Jane Tranter's quote that Who will be back. I don't think it'll be back with Disney.
I'd agree.
I think that's where we're at. We have seen Who with a budget of 20p in a cup before, and we've seen Who with budget of millions. And you said it perfectly. Give me a good story. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, 100%.
So now I really want to know. So tell me, what's your idea for the first episode of Billy Piper's 16th Doctor?
I think you do it in my head, especially because it's so thrown up in the air of who is she, what's going on. You do that sort of post regeneration haze. Maybe we even have the TARDIS crash land on Earth, unit come in, and they find her, and they're like, "What are you doing here? Where's the Doctor?" And she's trying to figure herself out. But I think by the end of it, she knows what's going on. Maybe even you do. I don't love deep breath, but maybe you even do it a similar thing of that, of they spend the whole time trying to figure out who they are, why this, literally it's exactly the same of why has this face come back while there's some alien threat going on and they're kind of having to deal with that. Because I think the thing is, I love Tennant as well, but I think the Christmas Invasion, I struggle with it because I like to see the Doctor, but it means you get those incredible moments when the TARDIS doors swing open on the Sycorax ship and he's like, hello, I'm here. And I think you can do that with Billy. So yeah, I think that would be my first episode for her. Have you got any ideas what you want to see?
I would be, so I'm not a massive fan of the fourth wall breaking. I would
I
love
agree.
there to be somebody outside the TARDIS that she's saying hello to.
She's talking to the star.
That brings us up to the end of the episode. So, James, thank you very much. You are a gentleman, sir, and a scholar, and thank you very much. And everyone, thank you so much for watching along. As I say, for a show that has no announcements, really, we are getting, it is raining quotes. So we will continue to go through everything. We will analyze what we think is worth bringing to you, and we will bring to you. I say worth bringing to you. It's all worth bringing to you. So we're going to see us a lot. And if you're watching this and this entire episode has been, where's Ellie? Don't worry, she will be back soon. She is having a lovely holiday. I have it on good authority, the authority being her. So, everyone, please follow us on the channel. We're at WhoCulture everywhere. So just hit follow on all the various socials. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's very much appreciated. Until we see you again, keep things wibbly wobbly. Thanks very much.